Professor Jenny Roe from the University of Virginia. Thank you very much for speaking to Syngenta Growing Golf. Jenny, when we spend time outside in a green space, including on a golf course, what is it that's happening to us? What are the benefits of being outdoors in a green space?
So there are a number of processes happening in terms of your contact and exposure to green space. And the first is really mental. So what green space allows us to do is restore our mental alertness. And this happens because nature holds our attention in an involuntary way, compared to, say, the demands of tasks that you're doing on an everyday basis. So there's a cognitive and mental recovery. At the same time, there's a physiological response. Contact with nature slows down our stress response and it induces calm. And there's evidence to show that this is really happening in our sort of biological system that controls and regulates for our stress. So it's promoting stress resilience, it's improving our mood, it's decreasing our risk of depression, and also it's increasing our social well-being, particularly on a golf course where you're interacting with other members of that community, perhaps on an ad hoc or formal basis in terms of who you're playing with. So there's this host of mental and social well-being benefits. So
that's very interesting. There's some technical detail there, but it's interesting because it does reflect what market research says. Golfers talk about stress relief and relaxation almost above the physical health benefits of being out in a green space. So it is true then that the golf course representing a natural environment actually does us some good. It's actually helping us relax and feel better.
Absolutely. Whatever theory you look at, it's helping you recover from mental fatigue. It's increasing your mental alertness, and it's inducing calm and relaxation.
Are there specific features of a golf course? Are there specific natural features that are particularly good for us? I'm thinking, is water, grass, are there specific things, or are all landscapes the same effectively?
Well, that's a very good question, and it's one that we're researching. We know, for instance, that green space with water seems to have an added benefit to psychological well-being. Again, it's those fascinating qualities of water, how they change with patterns of light, with wind on the surface, that induces curiosity and fascination. We know that biodiversity adds to the restorative health experience of nature. So if golf courses can support and maintain these types of habitats, they will increase the potential mental health benefit of that environment, whilst also, I'd say, supporting planetary health. Healthy planet, healthy people. The other thing I think golf courses bring to this is spatial variety. So the form, the undulations, the way in which the terrain changes, also colour, in terms of possibly associated planting, tree planting, shrub planting, all that brings to that environment increased fascination. And it's that fascination that triggers some of these physiological and mental processes that I was talking about earlier.
So that's an interesting point, because not all golf courses are the same, and perhaps golf courses, golf clubs could think about how they can enhance their environment, so they're actually improving the environment, making it even better for health benefits. But I wonder as well, whether that has an enhanced effect, perhaps in a town or city environment where actually there is urbanization around, and actually an enhanced green space can be even better, if you like.
I would say that's really important. And even if access is private and the general public cannot access a golf course, they will derive a benefit from looking at it, whether that's walking along its perimeter or seeing it from a window.
Do you think the COVID-19 pandemic will have an impact on the way we perceive and perhaps even value green spaces, including golf courses?
Already having impacts. I think people are really beginning to change their perceptions of the value of nature and its importance, particularly to mental health during a time that's very challenging. in which we're all experiencing anxiety, I think it's going to be particularly important for certain sections of the population who are, say, at the front line, for health workers, those people who are enduring a lot of stress on a regular basis. So opening up green spaces, including exploring the potential of privately owned green spaces, is going to be really, really important, I think, for our future mental health. I would just add that some countries are beginning to do this. So Norway and Denmark, for instance, and Scotland also are turning towards the outdoors and the natural outdoors as a way of potentially opening up schools, taking learning outdoors. Just one example of how green space is being used and being thought about in a creative way. I think access to local green space in the environment is going to be particularly important for those people who don't have a garden. So for instance, 1 in 5 people in London don't have access to a garden. In Scotland, it's 1 in 6. I think we need to prioritise increasing access to public green space, even if it's small in size for those individuals.
Interestingly, that may have an impact for golf, both as a pressure and an opportunity, but perhaps particularly in towns and cities. There was in fact a petition raised during the pandemic to try and get access for local communities to golf courses. And on the one hand, that's a pressure that's difficult for golf courses potentially to manage. On the other hand, it's an opportunity to be very community-minded and perhaps even offer people an opportunity to come and visit this beautiful space and maybe even convert them into customers. So towns and cities, green spaces, golf courses, it could be an opportunity as well.
So just a personal story. I mean, I have walked on golf courses in Edinburgh, which have been opened up to the public under COVID, and I'm very grateful for that. And having appreciated their value, it could now prompt my interest in golf as a sport, having never really encountered a golf course until that time. So if you do take the strategy whereby you are able to open up golf courses for public use, you may find that you actually grow the sport.
Professor Jenny Roe from the University of Virginia, currently in Edinburgh. Thank you very much indeed for speaking to Syngenta Growing Golf.
My pleasure.